Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to everyone's favorite game show, What Will You Chug? With your host, Levi. Hey, gang and contestant, Levi. Hi, it's me. Alright, Levi, you're sick and need to drink something because the voice of your mom in your head is saying if you don't chug something, you're going to die. What do you chug? Well, Levi, I think I'd run to the store and, get some Powerade. Anyway, today we're talking about the Cleveland Browns, everyone's favorite football team. Because they add a new dimension to the ship of Theseus. The Cleveland Browns of Theseus. They're called the Browns, you can't make them sound cool. I was watching this one YouTuber, SB Nation. He's really good. He does a lot of graphs and data analysis about the NFL. He made the offhand comment about how the Browns have been around since 1999, but their fans will insist that they've been around since before that, but then their team was sent to Baltimore and renamed, so they made a new Browns, and he's like, obviously that's not how history works, you can't be saying that, and it's full of bull. And I believed him, because I believe most things I see on the internet, like any reasonable human being. And then I Googled it, and it's not that cut and dry. I don't know what that guy was on, besides snorting the sweet, sweet lines of data. Okay, so the story is something along the lines of this. It's 1995. The owner of the Cleveland Browns is pissed. This guy walks up and he goes, I'm angry and I'm not getting the football field I want. So he wants to leave Cleveland, and he does. He's like, well, I'm moving my team to Baltimore. And then the city of Cleveland was like, no. And so the NFL got involved. They hammered out a deal, which was basically, all right, the Cleveland Browns are not moving, but the entire roster of the Cleveland Browns, the coaching staff and players, will pick up and move to Baltimore. But the Browns will stay in Cleveland. And then they said, we'll give you another team in a few years. And in a few years, they gave them that team. And that team was like basically the Byzantine Empire of football, which said, we are the Browns. Our history is the history of the team that got up and moved to Baltimore, which is weird to think about. So the team itself was gone, changed its name, it basically ran off in the middle of the night, got a new identity, started a new life, but it's still the same team. And then a few years later, they put a new team in place, and they said, this team has the record and Hall of Famers and retired numbers of the old Cleveland Browns, so we're all pretending it is now the Cleveland Browns we've always had. Is that the Cleveland Browns now? They have all the records, but the whole people moved. And then the question is like, are those people important in the changing of things? Because it's like the ship of Theseus, right? It's like you have two boats, and as one boat breaks down, you're replacing it with parts of another boat. When you have a bar that's like, how much % of this boat has been replaced? And as that bar creeps up towards 100%, what's the point where the boat is no longer the original boat? Because at some point, the boat could have all of its pieces replaced, which means none of it was there when this object that was termed the boat was created. And none of it is originally part of the boat, but it seems weird to say that's not the boat we had originally. And now you're just trying to think, it's kind of reverse of that with the football, because now the players moved, right? So in that year, you'd be like, the Cleveland Browns moved. There is the personnel left, the players left. But as we move farther and farther away from that time, and your coaching staff and players change out, you're getting to a point where it's not recognizable, and now you got to think of like, well, what effect are they having on each other? Like, did the head coach of the Cleveland Browns that became the Baltimore Ravens, did he have a huge effect on who's hired now? But of course, Jason, now you're stuck in the terrible position of, well, if that's true and the Cleveland Browns currently and the Baltimore Ravens have the same amount of ability to claim the heritage of the Cleveland Browns, then what does any team have the heritage to claim? And then that's not an inverse ship of Theseus, that's just ship of Theseus, as a team is replaced with people, head coaches switch out, the grass regrows. What's the team then, if not just this label? Anyways, I'm making this during halftime of the Seahawks-Rams game. Go Rams. I know you don't want it, but I want it because the Packers got to get in that higher seed, boys. Actually, I'm betting this is being made about the same time you're making your video. See you Wednesday.